recording this, should be our practice test, which will be tomorrow, should be very similar to the actual test, which will be on Thursday. So I'll try and make it as much as I can. So keep an eye out on D2L earlier tomorrow. So I guess our practice test will be tomorrow at 1:30 because that's when our class is. That's when we'll have to have our practice test. Yeah, so that should give you a good idea of what to be prepared for and what to do, and so that you can be ready for the test. Today's lesson, so that's tomorrow. Any question about that? See any chat coming? I guess that's good. So today's lesson, we've got two things that we're looking at. And I have started recording, so I hope you don't mind if I sort of go into this. And I'm going to make that, build it in a second. But today's lesson is doing some work with vLookup. The idea of vLookup, there's two of these lookups. But the vLookup, what it is, if you have some data in a table, and so what I mean by a table is something that's in rows and columns of data, and where each column or each row has something to do with it. So here each column represents an item, and each or a price, sorry, and each row represents an item with its price. Now the other way that the table could be is we could have had the headings down as the first thing in the row rather than across the top. And in which case we'd use a different kind of lookup. We would use the horizontal lookup. So this is, I guess, vertical lookup means that we provide a value, a single value. It looks for a match in the table, and then it will pull out something related to that row, which it has found by scanning vertically in the table for the value that you were looking for. So what I've done here, it's a little bit different than the exercise, and you do have a video of the exercise that you can refer to. So, but what I've done here is, this is how I would use vertical lookup. I would set myself up a couple of columns, a couple of cells in the table, in the worksheet, and I would just use them to enter data and retrieve data. So here I'm going to enter data. So for example, like maybe I want to know about the spice rack. And then I would use this cell here to build a vLookup formula so that I could get the details of the spice rack. And the reason why I do it like this is because then I could edit it afterwards. But let's just look at that. So if I went and started building a formula, when I do a equal v, it already knows that it must be something like a vLookup. I can edit that. Didn't do that very well, did I? vLookup. I should have double clicked instead of entering. And then I can build the formula with these 4 different parameters. So the first thing is the lookup value. The lookup value is the thing that we're going to use as the key to find something in the table. I'm just going to use this as the lookup value, spice rack. And then I put a comment and go to the next one. The table array is the table data, not including the headings. So I highlight the table, and that's the table array. The column index would be either the first column, second column, or however many columns it's got, starting from the left edge. So there's only 2 columns, and I want the data in the second column. So I'll put a 2 there. And then the last one is, do we want an approximate match, or do we want a absolute or exact match? And so yes, we want an exact match, so I'm going to put a false. When we're doing things and we're looking for names and things like that, we would want an exact match, because otherwise it's just going to give you random results. You'd use an approximate match if you're using numbers, and you'll get something which is a little bit below it or something like that. All right, so this returns the number 19.99, which is the number of the spice rack. Now, why I like doing this better than the exercise that it showed you is because now I can change that, and I can look up something very easily by just editing whatever's in this field. If I type t-shirt there, it returns me the value of what is the price of the t-shirt. If I type scarf, as long as I spell it right, I'll get the value pulled up from this. So that's how this would be really, really useful if you had, you know, hundreds or thousands of rows, and you wanted to find the price of something that was in there. As long as, the problem with this is that because we're using names here, we have to use exact matches. If I spelled this wrong, kind of like scarf, right? But I won't get an answer. There's just nothing like that. It doesn't do an approximate on that because we made it to have an exact match. So even if you try to do star, it's not going to work, right? You're going to have the exact match or it won't work. So that's how that works. There is another example here, which is this gift basket one. And the idea here is same kind of idea, but this table is slightly different because it has 3 columns instead of 2. So we could put 2 formulas here, right? We could do something just like that. We could say, all right, if I know the item, I'd also like to show the price, you know, and the category. Let's try something different. I'm going to go into a little bit of experimenting here because, you know what, why not? So why not? I'll probably get in trouble. When I say I get in trouble, probably won't work, but we're going to experiment. But let's see. Let's do something where we don't know what the items are, but we know what the category is. So for example, we've got a category here of kitchen. Okay, and so let's find an item from the kitchen. So we go equal, and then we do our vLookup, and so the thing that we want to look up is kitchen. We want to look it up in this thing here. Oh no, this won't work. All right, so good that I almost tried that, and I know it won't work because you can't look up something. The thing that you're going to look up must be in the leftmost column. So yeah, forget that idea. We have to look up item. Sorry. If we're going to do that, we'd have to take these 2 columns and move them over there. That's all right. Okay, so we do have to look up item. As I said, that wasn't sure if that was going to work, and then I just remembered that the thing that you're going to look up must be in the leftmost column, but the other things can be anywhere. Let's put in these formulas. The price formula is basically the same as we just did before. So the lookup value is going to be the spice rack. The array is going to be that, and we're going to look it up on the second column, and it's going to be false. It must be the exact thing there. And then the category, we can get the category there as well. Same idea, vLookup. So again, we look on the spice rack, and we want to get it on the entire table array. And this time we want it on the third column, and again, that's false. And that works okay. If we change this to photo frame, now it must be spelled right, right? See, that works there. But if I change this to photo frame with a capital F, that works. I'm surprised that works. But if I spelled it wrong, it doesn't work. Okay, so seems to be case insensitive, but it does rely on the other thing being okay. I haven't seen any comments, so I guess that's okay. Let's go on to the next one quickly then, the data validation. With this one, we're asked to name a range of cells, and it actually asks us to name the range from A2 to A10. We can name a range of cells by highlighting what we want and going to the formulas, and there's a define name option there. And then you just give it the name. Now, don't call it standard. This would be ship range or something like that. And that is now named. We can now, okay, it's already exists because I done this with the other class, so it's all right. We could check on that by going to the formulas and look at the lane manager, and we can see that we have a ship range there, and it's on that thing. And we can delete these and edit them and add new ones here by going to the formula name manager. So that's there. That's good. In our invoice thing, then what we want to do is we want to change our shipping option, and I've got the formula. So let's just see what we can do with this. This is if it's 3-day, then the calculation is like that. We got an if then else thing going on there. Oh no, we got vLookup. So the vLookup is looking up. Yes, we do have a if then else then. Well, a lot of cool stuff going on there. But what we want to do is we want to produce this drop down list, but it's already there. Sorry, it's already been done. So how do we do that? How did that happen? How that happens is in the data menu. You can go to this data tools, and there's a data validation. And then you have to choose the data validation, make it a list. If it's one of these other things, it's not going to work. You have to choose a list. And then we need, well, sorry, I should undo that one. So can I undo the data validation? Probably because I want to settings. Yeah, so the thing that was missing was the ship range. We need to make sure that that's added to it every time. As long as that's there, it will be okay. Anyway, so that is working, I think. List ship range, okay. Yes, we could, well, we could clear it. Let's clear it. Okay, so there's, so when we come here, we go to list, and then we choose our source as equal ship range, because if we've got that range of cells named, then that will work on it. As long as we do the equal, then we've got our list of the things that are in this shipping range. If we added some other values here, 5-day, maybe because I mean that seems to be the trend, right? And let's look what will happen to the so then we have those other options are there. So because I created this based on this range of cells that goes all the way to 10, any of those can be one of the options. Up to 9-day. And so when I look at my invoice, there's all the options there. And I don't know if we got a formula for, okay, so that's kind of what that one was about. And so I'm going to stop there. Actually, I'll stop recording or